Great morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bringing Value podcast. I'm joined again with Ricardo Acevedo.
Hey guys, good to see you guys again.
Definitely. Hey, so you said something that was so impactful for me last time.
Okay.
And I was in a rut last time, let's be honest. I'm
Mhm.
feeling really good now. And
That's awesome.
and I appreciate, by the way, your words of wisdom and this podcast. I think it's changed my life for sure. And I'm hoping it's changing other people's lives as well.
Well, we have heard great stories, so that's why we're both committed to each other, and
Yes.
we're committed to our audience, and we're committed to giving back because we know that it is changing other people's lives, and that is the reason why we're here.
Yes.
There is no monetarily plan behind it.
Yes.
There's none of that other than just bringing value, to others, and hopefully assist them on doing something that changes their life as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, listen, like I said, you were saying something that was really impactful to me, and it clicked a lot of gears in my head going on. And you said something along the lines of everyone is given an inheritance.
Right.
An inheritance is given to you, but a legacy is given into you. It's placed inside of you. And I wanted to really expand on that. Does that sound about right that I just said?
Yes, not exactly the way it reads on the book, but it was a couple of quotes that I pulled up from the book, and it talks about that. It's basically, I don't want to leave an inheritance for my people.
Yes.
I want to leave a legacy within them.
Yes, and there you go. Exactly.
Mhm.
And legacy, like, it's such a powerful word, right?
Yes.
And I think if you asked me prior to hearing that statement, I would be like, okay, legacy is like, when you build an empire, a business
Right.
empire, and you give it to your children.
Right.
And when you said that to me, I said, wait, no, that's not even close, is it?
Right.
And off camera, we talked a little bit about it. So could you dish out on it? And then I want to kind of riff off of what you're saying here.
Absolutely. And what we talked about is basically, do I hand them over our inheritance, right? Do I give my kids or, that inheritance, or do we give out something just for them to get it and not actually teach them and grab them by the hand and teach them what it took
Yes.
to build that?
Yes.
So that it's more meaningful and it's more something that they will also be able to carry over into their next generation to come. Because think about it, inheritance is something that you just hand over.
Yes.
I left $1 million, $2 million behind. I give it to this person.
You leave the
or
house.
to my kids
Yes.
or my family.
Yes.
What are they going to do with it if they don't know what to do with it?
Yes.
If they don't know what it took to build that $1 million
Yes.
or that $2 million, the sweat equity that went behind it, they're going to blow it.
Yes.
It's like somebody winning the lottery, right?
Yes.
They've never known how to handle $1 million.
Yes.
And what do? Is they end up broke again.
Yes.
So what the actual quote was meaningful as far as that goes is I want to be able to teach, educate, and be able to ingrain it in themselves through the process, through them learning and understanding the principles and values that we represent as a family that got us to where we're at. Yes, we're going to give them an inheritance at some point, but is the legacy that they're going to be able to handle and carry over to the next generations that are going to come, because our responsibility is to teach them so that when we are gone and we exit from this world, they're able to grow it bigger and better than where we left it off, because it's about growth from when we're gone.
Yes.
We don't want to be gone and all of a sudden everything that we built ourselves up to, it's completely done in the next generation that is coming.
Yes.
Because there was no true educational program or a good leadership, system in between that is going to allow them to take that over to the next generation and the next generation to the following generation.
Yeah, it's almost like you're passing on for your legacy, you're passing on character.
Yes.
Right? Like, I would even argue that an inheritance without the legacy factor is useless.
Yes.
Because I think you hit it spot on too, right? How many times have you heard stories of a lottery winning ticket being given to someone with, like I said off camera with me, a poor mindset?
Yeah.
Right? Because they weren't taught how to handle money.
Correct.
And not to say that everyone that wins a lotto has a poor mindset, because there's good stories out there too.
Correct.
But the ones, unfortunately, that do end up going broke, they do have a poor mindset. They weren't taught how, not necessarily, not even financially, but even their character doesn't necessarily line up to that.
Yes.
So it's like, in the same sense, if you give this lottery, you're giving your inheritance is a lottery. Let's be honest, right? Because you don't choose who you're born to. You're just born into that family,
to the environment.
Yes. So it's like you're given this lottery, you're given this house, you're given this money. But if you don't have the mindset behind it to maintain it or even grow it,
right,
you're not going to go very far.
Yeah, they're gonna tear it apart.
Yeah,
very easily.
And so I liked how you're saying like you're passing on the character, and I think off camera we said this too, and I thought it was really cool. It's like it it's funny because it ties in with everything we were talking about. Lead by example, be that better man, better woman, better human being.
Correct.
That's because all of that's going to result in probably financial success anyway.
Correct.
But I like how we said off camera too. A legacy is passed on because what it does is it kind of continues that journey. Because I think we were saying
as you pass on the baton to the next one.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
On a race, you hand it over.
Yes.
And the next guy is getting ready. It gets it. And
Yes.
he's ready to take off, and he knows what to do
Yes.
with that baton. And his goal and responsibility is to lead it and take it to the next guy waiting for him.
Yes. Because it's almost like, what's the ultimate goal? I think the ultimate goal is to be the perfect human being, which I don't think exists, to be very honest. Right? There's no perfect human being, but at least
we
we're
strive
to strive to be it. Yes. And you took the words right out of my mouth. It's like, what are you passing the baton? You're not passing on a financial baton.
Yeah.
You're not even passing on your quote unquote dreams. You're passing on the dream, rather, or the ambition to become the perfect human being.
Correct.
And yes, they're never going to reach it probably, but they're going to improve. They're going to make growth. Could you imagine, right? Like imagine right now, I don't have kids yet, but you have kids. It's like, all right, let's say if we were putting it in a percentage scale, I'm trying to paint a picture for the audience here. It's like, imagine you're 10% into becoming the perfect human being.
Right.
When you pass away, are you going to go back to zero? No, because you're passing it on to your children.
Yes.
They're going to start at 10% because everything you learned, your character, your knowledge from the books that you read and everything, the human being, let's call it the human being value.
Yeah.
Right? They're at 10% now.
Yeah.
They're going to then go in their life. Let's say they carry to 21%.
Yeah.
And they're going to pass it on to the next one.
Correct.
And they're now at 21%.
It improves from generation to generation.
Yes.
And that's when you make a choice in life, Seth. For us, we got a lot of work to do. Sandra and I have a lot of work to do because we have 10 kids.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We're a new generation from my mother and my father.
Yes. Yes.
And I have now 10 kids.
Yes.
That are going to roll over to their kids and their grandkids. So when I say I have a lot of work to do, it's because, I have 10 kids I gotta develop, that we gotta implant these cores and these core values and principles that me and Sandra represent, and that we are trying to represent by becoming better every single day. And we have a lot of work to do because, 2-3 years, back, we weren't what we are today.
Yeah.
So we were teaching them certain things 2-3 years ago.
They may not agree with anymore.
That don't line up to
who you guys are
now today.
Yeah.
3 years later or today. So it's a constant work of preparation and self-developing that will help us align our values with our actions so that we're able to pass it on to our kids so that it passes on to the next generations and the next, obviously, generations that come after that. And when you start seeing things with that significance, it just becomes so much more powerful because you embrace it even with more commitment, with more responsibility, with more love and care, because you're thinking, hey, my decisions aren't just not affecting me.
Yes.
My decisions are affecting my generations that are come after me.
Yes.
A bad decision, something that I do bad, is not correct, that does not align with my values, is going to end up reflecting on my kids and my family that comes after me because of my poor decisions or my good decisions that I made. So it goes way beyond that, man. I've heard of so many stories from, families that their first family that created a good financial successful
like a foundation for
family, that created success. And what happens? It's sad to see that it just passes over to the kids
and it disappears,
and then they blow it
because they did not pass the fundamental ideas.
Because a lot of the times we focus on just building it.
Yes.
And obviously, when I mean building, is building financial success.
Yes.
That we forget about the core values that go hand in hand with that. So it is a sustainable, long-term success.
Powerful.
Not for this family, but the families to follow.
Wow.
And I can tell you today in my life, man, it's what really moves me personally. Is what moves Sandra on a day-to-day is we're building generational wealth.
Yes.
We're building generational freedom.
Yes.
We're building generational legacies. And that's our main purpose, is we want to build something that is going to carry over way further than
You
when we're
guys,
gone.
yes,
So
absolutely.
what we're doing is for something even greater than ourselves.
Yes.
Is for something that is beyond ourselves when we're gone. And for me personally, and I know for Sandra, with conversations that we have, it's one of those things that really moves us to continue to want to improve ourselves on a day-to-day basis.
Gives you purpose.
Because it's our, well, you said it, it's
Yeah.
our purpose.
Yes.
You know, people ask me, Ricardo, how come you're so patient with your agents? How come you're doing all this stuff with your team? That wasn't you, Ricardo, several years ago or 5 years ago. And it's because along the way, you start understanding and you find your true purpose in life.
Yes.
And we have found what our true purpose in life is. And our purpose is making that significance in our life, on other people's lives, our kids, because that's going to entail in what our generations are going to do after we're gone, what our business is going to do when we're gone, and how many generations is our business going to roll past us when we're gone.
I like how you said that right now. Before I talk into the next thing, it's like with business, it's like when you have the strong foundation as a human being, you're breathing life into that business.
Yes.
And when that business gets passed on to somebody that does not breathe the same values, it's almost like you're taking away life from that business.
They don't understand it.
Yes.
They're going to break it very, very fast and easy because they don't understand the principles. They don't understand the values on how that whole structure and that culture was built.
Yes. And we hear about it, right? Like we hear about millionaires or billionaires who pass away and they give their entire empire to their child, and the child doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
If anything, they sell it off and give to somebody else, or the vice president takes over, whatever.
Well, most of the stories are sad stories, obviously.
Unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure there's good ones out there too.
Of course.
Right. But and that's why we're saying off camera, it's like, I feel like unfortunately what happened is the parents failed to pass on the legacy. They passed on the inheritance.
Either that or they started a little too late. They might have not gone to a point where they were able to really pass the message.
Yes.
And that message was really fruitful in their core family, where it really didn't get to where they wanted to get to.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's why it's so important, right, at a young age to start instilling these values into them.
Yes.
And I think one thing we said off camera, which I really liked, was really to dive back and think about our grandparents and our parents and what they had to sacrifice to get where we are today.
I just read that book I was sharing with you back on the backstage, which is where I pull those quotes. It's called Chasing the Lion.
Yes.
And it was a very impactful book to me because it just brought me more awareness that a lot of things that we do in life, a lot of times we're very selfish, right? We do things just thinking of us, right? I made this decision because of me, because what's for me, what's best for me, what brings me happiness. But a lot of times we don't stop to really understand and figure it out that your decisions are more than just about you.
Yes.
It's about your wife, your kids, and your grandkids, and the people that comes after you, and the people that sacrificed even before you, for you to be where you're at now.
Today, exactly.
So we're, in a sense, we're a product of what our past generations have done to be able to place us where we're at today.
Yes.
So if I have the blessing to be today here where I'm at, I owe it to the people that sacrifice themselves for me to be here today where I'm at. Therefore, I have to embrace the responsibility of what I'm doing with my life of significance to others around me, because that's going to make, obviously, an impact on what's going to be after
the next generations,
with the next generation that comes.
The way to frame it, which I like how you said that right now, is like, okay, know that your actions today are going to affect the next generation. But then you might be like, well, Seth, Ricardo, how do I can't see myself understanding that yet. I don't have kids. It's like, okay, well, take a step back. Like I can tell you from my experience. My grandfather, who I was telling you off camera, was a very influential human being.
Yes.
Right? 2 steps down from Prime Minister in Pakistan. Because of his incredible success as a human being and also on the financial and just his status.
He was just a great role model to you guys.
Incredible role model.
Yeah.
He then had children who were able to go to Oxford, go to very large schools outside of Pakistan. And because of that, they also all had the financial freedom to move from Pakistan to come to America. Right? They wouldn't have to struggle to do that because my grandfather already paved the way for them to do that. So then they were all able to go to America. And now because of my parents being in America, I'm now in America. And I was born in this country as the first one. I'm the first generation born here. And I have this opportunity. And
So my question to you is this now, okay? Are you going to take ownership of that responsibility and know that you are meant to be that guy
Yes.
that pushes his next generation
even further? Yes.
Or you're going to ignore that and you're just going to live life selfishly and say, no, I'm just going to enjoy what my grandpa did.
Yes.
And that's it. Or you're going to be insignificance to now say, well, now he did that for me.
Yes.
Now I got to do it for the next ones that come after me.
It's like the fact that I understand what my grandpa did for our family, it's a no-brainer that I have to continue it, right? Once you understand what they had to sacrifice, you, at least for me in my case, I understand what he had to sacrifice. I understand what my mom and dad had to sacrifice. It's like, well, my actions are they're gonna matter,
right?
Just like how their actions mattered,
right?
So I have to take on the responsibility. Like for me, it's not even a choice anymore, right? Because it'd be disrespectful to them, on what he had to do to get us out here.
Because you have made that decision, Seth. You have made that decision. You've taken ownership and you have grasped it and embraced it.
Yes.
Where obviously you could have said, well, I am what I am. It's my life. He chose to do that. But for me, that's not important. It's not of significance.
No, it's not.
However, he did it.
Yes.
And somebody in your family is going to have to be the one that carries over that. And that's either going to be you or somebody else or no one.
Yes.
And it's going to have to go to the next generation. And maybe somebody from the next generation
yes.
will look back to your grandpa and potentially be the one. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's beautiful, man. If any of you guys get a chance to pick up that book, which is Chasing the Lion, it's an amazing book that I think is just going to allow your mind to really expand your thought vision and your thought process. Where again, a lot of times we're just living life and not having awareness of a lot of things that truly move you and move your spirit as a human being. That really moves you to do great things or greater things in life that you don't even believe you're able and possible of doing them. Because there's something greater inside of you that moves you to get there.
Yeah. And I have a question for you now, actually, because I'll tell you, when you were saying earlier, the second thing I wanted to touch up on, because you were telling me how 4 years ago, you and Sandra may be passing on things that you're like, oh, those don't align with who we are anymore.
Right.
I can tell you, because Ricardo, I've been working with you for a couple of years now. Prior to this podcast, we were doing, print jobs back and forth. And I can tell you from off the bat that you're no longer the same human being you were when I first met you. Like, not even close. And I can venture the answer is yes, but you can answer too, because I can tell you now you're more pleasant to be around. You're full of life. You're always passing on knowledge. Like, you're very different, right? I think you were saying you were always a machine when it came to business, but now you've evolved as a human being in my eyes. Right. And I look up to you so immensely because of that. Because the financial is whatever. It's the human being that Ricardo is that's just incredible to me. That just tantalizes me and even our audience. I know because I hear about it. They're like, man, your guy that you do your podcast with is just so wise. Right. And that's the word I would use, wise. I imagine the answer is yes. I'm sure you're happier now than you were before, right?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah?
Absolutely, 100%. And it wasn't that I wasn't happy, but I was trying to find myself within the process, right? There's always been that guy in there, but a lot of times we get so much caught up into wanting to become successful that we get so caught up on just doing the things that lead us to financial success.
Yes.
And you separate yourself from the things that align with your values as well, that are more important and more fulfilling as a human being.
Yes.
That's why there's a saying that says, you don't chase success. You don't go after success. Success is going to find you. You're going to attract success by doing the things that will lead you to success.
Wow.
So when you're chasing something, you're chasing it. You're miserable because you're chasing it.
Yes.
But when you're living something and you're doing it on a day-to-day basis with love and passion and dedication, you're going to attract it and it's going to come on its own. So I was chasing something in the process, but deep inside of me, I knew there was something better and greater inside of me that I needed to really develop and find. And within the process, man, I was searching for something more. Yes, Ricardo is this machine, and Sandra are these business machine people that are selling a ton of real estate, and they're very successful selling homes. But we knew that we were built to do better and greater things than just being these real estate machines.
Yes.
As we were built to make an impact and a difference within the real estate world by bringing in value
Yes.
and by bringing in these podcasts where we're now allowing ourselves to be more meaningful to people by sharing our stories, by sharing our experiences, and by really bringing value and meaning to our lives.
Yes.
So that it impacts others.
Wow.
So our responsibility, man, is we were meant to be successful in the real estate world so that we can bring a meaningful lifestyle in a different way of living life within the real estate world by the meaningful lifestyle that we carry and that we have had the experience to have, so that we're able to share it with other people within our industry that could utilize it for them to improve their lifestyle.
You're not just passing on business technique. You're passing on far beyond that. Human being, like almost human being value.
Well, it's a legacy, man.
Yeah.
It's our business legacy within the industry,
Yes.
and how we can obviously share our experience where others could grow, not just as real estate agents, but grow as human beings, become more meaningful in their lives, and now they're preparing their legacies for their families to come.
Yes. Holy cow.
We're in the business world, placed by God into the business world to make an impact and significance within what He gave us talents and abilities to succeed on. But in reality, our calling is greater than just being real estate agents. Our calling is being good parents, a husband and wife and father and mother of 10 kids.
Yes.
Running successful businesses,
Yes.
being good human beings, being good father and mother figures, and be able to share that with our people in our industry, that you can have it all if you're willing to go through the appropriate process, apply the right values and core values and principles into your life, and be able to have a fulfilled lifestyle in all areas of life.
Your purpose, I would argue, not even argue, I would venture, is to leave a good legacy in the business, in the family, but also in the business. Like it's kind of like where we're going with on that, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And when I say legacy, I'm not saying again an inheritance. I'm not saying about, oh well, I'm going to build this big business and then disappear with me or give it to somebody else.
Right.
No. You're talking about the core values. I think you called it the sweat ethic.
Yeah.
I like that, by the way, the sweat ethic. To pass on the sweat ethic to the next generations for this business to keep on going even beyond you.
That's our purpose, man, is to be able to impact this business so that our new generation of realtors and people could follow and have a different way of understanding success within our industry. Not financial success where you start making money, you start driving a nice car, you start doing this, you start doing that, and then later on you realize, oh, it's way more than this.
That's not sustainable. Like you were saying.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're building a lifestyle and we're teaching and we're sharing a lifestyle that is going to be a sustainable lifestyle that is going to carry on to the next generations. Now, therefore, you're building generational business that are sustainable because they're well built and they have great foundations that are going to be able to continue to grow and grow and grow because they are sustainable the way they were built, through the right leadership, through the right values and principles that will allow you to grow it to obviously areas you can't even imagine how far you could get.
Far beyond your life. And that, I think that is legacy.
That is legacy. For me, that's what it is. For you guys, it might be something different. For me, that's what it means. That's why I posted the other day what I posted. And that's what I live my day by is how do we obviously continue to improve ourselves so that we're able to leave a better legacy for our people, a better impact to our people, and allow people to understand more than just being successfully financially, but what's way more than that outside of just the financial success.
Wow. Well, hey, listen, we're over 20 minutes, so I want to definitely end the podcast here. Is there any last things you would like to say though for the audience?
No, it's been a great podcast. I think that you had great questions, and I hope that today's podcast allows some of our viewers to just go and either pick up the book or to be able to just ask themselves those questions and hopefully start, in a sense, figuring out if that's something that it's your calling within your family. And if it's going to be you, that one that is going to raise up
The standards.
the standards in your family, and you're going to be that pioneer
Yes.
that takes over the previous pioneer within your family. And if there hasn't been one,
It might be you.
it might be you.
Mhm.
And search and obviously question yourself if that is a calling you have,
Yes.
and what are you going to do with that calling?
Powerful. Wow. Very motivating too.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Well, hey, hope you guys enjoyed our episode. Till next time.